Okie dokie. So we're live.
So the Cedar Point thing, are you going to? I mean, you might as well say that's because of Twisted Timbers.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna say too.
It's not really Cedar Point. It's kind of Cedar Point, King's Dominion.
Well, I already talked about Kings Dominion doing it last episode, and then Cedar Point. You know, they just opened the other weekend, so I just put it in there to talk about it again. Basically saying the
What was the
exact same
last?
thing.
Was I on the last episode? I
No,
don't remember.
you were not.
Oh,
I think you were a couple episodes ago.
I didn't know you released one. I didn't see it show up.
Released a
Oh,
couple.
that's right. I got a new phone. It wouldn't show up.
What kind of phone is it?
It's pretty much the same. It's just It's a LG V20 instead of the V10.
Ooh.
It's a whole year newer from 2017.
Are you never gonna get like a Samsung or an iPhone?
No, well,
Do you have your
no,
own personal hatreds for those companies too?
no, it's not. It's I just don't like I like having a swappable battery, and there's no new phones that have it. Plus, like a lot of phones are getting harder to root.
Okay,
And
well
I don't like crap running on my phone that I don't want running.
I do want to say if anyone's watching the live stream, I just uploaded my Copyright Strike review. So once you finish watching this live stream, go to the channel and look at the new review. We're gonna talk about that on this podcast too, though.
What about the old review from last year?
Of Copyright Strike.
I'm sure somebody did a review based on the POV.
I used to do not reviews, but like analysis, but I didn't do it on copyright.
Oh, speaking of POV, look what just hit Reddit. Kings Island 2020 Giga POV.
Oh, is it that frickin'? If it's the Amusement Insiders one, then I don't care because I've seen that and it was
Huh?
awful. Which one is it?
No, I don't know.
Let me see. I'm assuming it's the one that I saw on Instagram that was awful, and it was made on Planet
No, it's
Coaster.
from Coaster Heads.
Oh, this is not. Yeah, this is not the one I saw. This is No Limits, so they actually. Turn your volume down a little, Bob. Come on.
Oh, yeah.
This is basically the exact same POV that the Mac created. There's like no difference. You're right though. This does look underwhelming, but
I mean, this is the thing. If you put that at another park, it would be spectacular.
not really. If you put that at King's Dominion, no, I guess I don't know what I'm talking about.
Oh, King's Dominion, we're gonna get just barely a hyper or something if we get that.
I don't think we're getting
Get
anything
the
still.
world's fastest kiddie coaster. I'm not bitter. I mean, it looks like a short Fury.
Except probably nowhere is good.
No, I mean,
Let me get my voice thing up.
That first hill is pretty bizarre, though. On the side. Sideways airtime.
Oh my god, what the hell? Just opened up a new project, I guess. Audacity. There it was. Okay.
Why is that brake run so high?
I don't know.
Bizarre.
I do like that, like, they did the banked airtime hill.
Yeah, that's bizarre. That's pretty cool.
It's like, it's Steel Vengeance. Reminiscent of Steel Vengeance. Maybe B&M's doing the Intamin thing and copying RMC too.
That's the thing. Like, B&M, I don't. They need to push themselves. I'm not even saying like they need to push themselves like Intamin does. They just need to push themselves even a little bit.
I don't think they need to. Okay, let's start this boy.
All right.
Okay, test yours audio.
Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing. You got it. Test.
Yep, it's going through good.
What's that?
It's going through good.
Oh, cool.
Okay, I'm gonna go get some more water because I drank that all while we were doing this prep. So I'll be right back and then we can start.
All right.
Not done. Ready?
Yep.
Okay. Okie dokie. Let's get ready. Let's get started. Make sure my audio is good. Test. 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 Okay. You ready?
Yep.
Okay, I know I asked that before.
like
I know I asked you that. But I don't want you to be like, well, wait, I'm writing something real quick. Because you keep typing, so. Okay. I'm going to start your audio first. So a big trip is coming up for me and my friend Bob here on...
Yeah, wait, what?
That was a terrible opening. I don't know what the...
I was not expecting you to throw that to me at that point.
I don't know I don't know how to start this. I keep starting it off with like dumb, like the coaster season is, in full swing, and I'm not doing that again. So I'm trying to like... Okay, so I think I'm just going to say something about Hollywood Nights, and then we'll talk about it more later in the show. So I'll be like, the big trip of the year is coming up or whatever, and you'd be like, yeah.
Wait, so am I jumping in on it, or?
Yeah, that's why
Okay.
I'll say Bob. I'll be like, so then they know you're on their show too. So it's like an added like,
Yep.
you're on the show and we're going on a big event and we'll talk about it more in the show, and then it'll like draw in the audience, I think, more.
All right.
I just need to know how to word it. So I guess like, I'm going on a big trip. I don't know. The biggest coaster trip of the year is about to get in full swing. Oh, dang it. I just started my audio first. Here we go. One of the biggest coaster trips of the year for me and my friend Bob here is about to get into full swing. We're going to be going to Hollywood Nights.
So looking forward to it. And Kentucky Kingdom, don't forget that as well.
Kentucky Kingdom
Excited
as well.
for Kentucky Flyers.
Yeah. We're going to talk way more about that later on in the show, but I just wanted to bring it in that we are going to be going on that big trip. It's a week from today. We will be there. Getting ready to go there. So that's going to be really exciting. So we're going to go into the first segment like we always do. Welcome to Coaster Talk, your source for everything roller coasters. My name is James Barber, and let's get into attraction news.
Hey, we did it.
The opening is always the hardest part. I can flow into like everything else, but the opening is always like, what am I going to say that's going to like get everyone in the... Pam lied. She's not watching.
She just texted me. She said, "Did you start yet?" I'm like, "We're just starting now."
I told her that like an hour ago. I said, we're starting very soon. At 9:35. So 7:35. Half an hour ago. Come on, Pam. We're getting closer to episode 50. We're going to do like the big group. Whatever. Right? Are we still doing that?
Yeah, we should.
I'm announcing it on the podcast, on the live stream. No one can know.
Really?
No one can know. It's a big surprise. We'll figure it out later.
Where is the live stream?
It's live.
Is it?
Yeah.
Where?
Oh, yeah, it's live. I'm looking at it right now on my channel. Oh, wait a second. For some reason, it's unlisted. There, now it's public. I don't know why that happened. It was under unlisted, not public.
That would do it. That's why Pam's confused.
Okay, now we are.
Now we're cooking with grease.
Now we're public. I was wondering why there was no one watching. I'm like, usually we get at least 5 or 6 people watching. At this point, I mean, we've been doing this.
Screwed it all up. I told you, everything changed, man.
Man. Okay, so let's get back into this. Oh, you just ruined it, Bob.
What?
That whole noise right there, I was recording. I could probably edit that out, but I'll just delete it real quick. Okay. You ready now?
Yep.
So Cedar Point has followed King's Dominion in adding metal detectors to their RMC Steel Vengeance. They're asking guests to remove cell phones and keys from their pockets and put them in the zippered pouches mounted into the trains underneath your legs. Other small objects can also be secured in cargo pants if you're wearing the right clothing. So I like how they add that in there, that if you are wearing cargo pants, you'll be allowed. So the enthusiasts are going to be happy. But I think what's really going to happen here is, as I've said before, the general public, when you go on those rides and you ride with the you usually have your sunglasses, your keys, your wallet, etc. So so those objects are not all going to fit into a pouch because you can barely fit like one phone in there, as I've done before. You cannot fit multiple objects in there. So my question is to Cedar Fair is, what are they going to do with the people that don't have aren't wearing cargo pants and have too many objects and they won't fit in the pouch? Are they just going to kick them off and say, sorry, you waited 2 hours, you can't ride now? I mean,
Yeah, this whole Twisted Timber Still Avenger thing, I think they're making it more complicated than it should be. I mean, there's a problem. I understand that. The phones are being lost and hitting people, and you can't have that. That has
hot sauce.
Yeah, hot sauce. Although that's an unrelated incident. But I think the thing that they need to relay is the fact that if you are the one that loses your phone and it hits somebody, you are legally responsible and you will be prosecuted. And the first time that somebody is prosecuted, the message is sent. No matter what you do to make this foolproof, somebody is going to find a way around it, or somebody's going to make it more complicated. I don't know. Like, yeah, I think this is definitely going to cut down on the, people just randomly forgetting about it because now you're walking through metal detectors. But, I mean, you could have an item that's hard plastic and have it fly out of your pocket and hit somebody and still hurt them, and a metal detector is not going to pick that up.
Yeah.
Some of this goes back to the whole locker thing and bins in the station. Like, that's where we're at here. Like, oh, you have to have the right pockets. Well, if you had bins, then you're not like, I think Cedar Fair spends more time kicking people out of the coasters than what the alleged delay would be if there was bins.
Yeah,
it just doesn't, I mean, like I-305 this year, oh my God, the line's been ridiculous because half the time I'm standing in line, it takes forever to dispatch a train because somebody's getting kicked off because they had a purse or they had some type of a bag or something like that. Like, that takes time. And you're talking like people that are already locked into the train. So you're releasing, rechecking.
And multiple of my friends that have been going to Kings Dominion with these. Now, I have not actually been since the metal detectors have been installed because I've been going to Carowinds and other parks. So I've heard that the operations are slowing down from, they're usually, a minute, 2 minutes. I've heard some people say up to 5 to 7 minute operations on Twisted Timbers because of these metal detectors, because they have to go and check everybody's ham stamp and make their card or whatever they have now and make sure that, that they have everything secured. And then they put down the restraints, and then they send out the train. So it's not just to check the restraint real quick and hit the go button. You have to check and make sure everything's secured, make sure everything's in the pouch. That's just insane. I mean, now not only are they're not even ride ops anymore. They're like security guards. They're like checking to make sure no one has anything in their pockets.
That's exactly what's happening. It's like going through the front gate.
Yeah.
And the thing is I still think that it's going to happen again. Not the same items, but something's going to happen, and it boggles my mind. RMC is not a new thing. Yeah. Why is it such a big deal when Cedar Fair gets them?
I don't know. It's very. I know because Six Flags has been having for a while, and none of this has ever been an incident like this. I mean, it's crazy. It's really strange that this is all of a sudden like spurring out now that Cedar Fair has them. And the question remains is, now if Cedar Fair keeps adding RMCs, are they going to keep doing this system, or are they going to find some other better way when they add the newer ones to implement? I'm sure if they do get the metal detectors, they'll actually like make them actually part of the ride station and stuff. Like maybe it'll be like the front or something. It won't just be like in the station, because that's really, I think, a terrible design to just literally put it in the station. So I don't know what they're going to do with that, but hopefully on their new RMCs they find out some new system. I mean, I like the Yukon Striker loose article bins a lot. Maybe those will work out in Canada, and they'll decide to put them out their new attractions, or at least their new RMCs.
Yeah, certainly. And I'll be honest with you, if they just did free lockers, that would also alleviate a hell of a lot of the headaches. Because that's why people are carrying so much. Like, people want their phone. They want their phone with them in line, but a lot of the other stuff people would be okay putting in lockers, but they don't want to spend the money on it. Mm-hmm. So that's why they're shoving it in their pockets. So, I don't know. I think they're making it worse than it has to be.
And it's all this like safety crap, and it's like, is this really for safety? Come on. This is
right. If they were really concerned about safety, those lockers would be free.
Exactly.
I mean, the parks that Universal started the metal detector thing, and they give you free lockers. Hershey has the Sky Rush. You're technically sometimes they let you take stuff on, but technically you're not. They give you a free locker. They don't have these issues.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
mean, you know, you can convince people to do something if it's free. It's harder to convince them when you require them to pay extra money after already spending money on your whole trip.
And did you see that? This is completely. Well, it's not really completely off topic. It's kind of off topic. A couple of weeks ago, for some reason, I don't know if there's a malfunction with the system, but at Carowinds, not when I went, but a week after I went, there was like a receipt for Fury's locker bins, and it said overtime fees will be $2 per minute. $2 every minute that it's late. So that's but they fixed it. Now it's 2 minutes per every hour that it's late. So that's so they're basically like $2 per minute. That's like you're getting in the $100 there. I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah. Well, maybe someday lockers might cost that much.
And that's crazy. I was there when I was at Carowinds. I was there at the locker station, and that you cannot get it for over an hour. So I was trying to get a locker for over an hour, and they were like, "Sorry, you're just either gonna have to." Literally, what the person at the gift shop told me, she said, "You can either fake it and like put your money inside of the locker, and so when the hour's up, we can call the like supervisors and they can open it up for you for free, or you can take your money with you and just we'll bring someone over and you'll have to pay for it." So it's such like a weird. That's a terrible system right there, that Fury locker system. And then on top of that, I went to ride Fury, and the Fury's line was really long. It was like 2.5 hours. So I was like, okay, I'm going to be here for a while. So it turned out it wasn't that long because the ride shut down for like 5 minutes. So like everybody left, and then it like opened up 5 minutes later because B&M reliability right there. It doesn't take 4 hours to open a ride like I-305 and stuff like that. But the ride opened. So it was only about an hour. And but the locker was actually broken. And so I go in to ask the supervisor. It was like the same supervisor that had been there before. And I was like, hey, your locker is like broke, like it can't shut it. It won't shut. And then I was there with a couple other enthusiasts, and we found other lockers that were just like that, and they wouldn't shut. And so we're like, there's a problem here. And she just kind of like, she was like, okay, let me get that for you. And then like kind of just like walked away and like never came back. And I'm like, okay, I guess I'll just leave my stuff in the broken locker, and if it gets stolen, whatever.
Dude, last year at the start of the season at King's Dominion, there were bags laying everywhere. Because nobody wanted to pay the locker fee. Just start hanging.
Because that was a terrible. I mean, when they opened those lockers, it was like you can't move them. Now at least you can move them around. But the stupid like non-removable lockers is just mentally retarded. I mean, like you have to buy a locker at each roller coaster, and there's only 3 in the park. So it's like, I mean,
yeah, it's just. I mean, I get it for some things, but other things like it's just bins always worked. And I know there's people out there, especially enthusiasts, that complain that bins slows things down. And I don't, in the scheme of things, I don't think they do. I think the thing is a person with a bag that slows things down will still slow things down if they don't have a bag. Like it has nothing to really do with the bins. As long as the bins are designed properly in the station and you don't have like Volcano was, where you have one bin and the entire, like both incoming and outgoing trains are, crowding around one bin. If you have it designed properly, it doesn't slow things down.
Yeah, it doesn't. So I even like you said, the free lockers, that would even be like an added bonus. And the Twisted Timbers lockers are awful because they're like so tiny. They're just kind of like, there's like not a lot of them. So I was a little, when they opened that ride up and I saw that locker, I'm like, and it's always like crowded over there. It's really just a weird location to put some lockers, and it's kind of like in that little corner there. And I don't know. I always thought that was kind of strange. So, and on top of that, people don't want it. I mean, I remember when they had to like tell people like you cannot hang stuff on these gates anymore because so many people were just throwing their bags up on there. Yeah, people still do it, but they told them not to now. It's just a really shady situation. And I'm a little disappointed in Cedar Fair there.
As long as I can keep my cell phone in my pocket or in a pouch on the train, like I want that with me in line, and maybe my wallet too, just because I need that. That's important. As long as I can keep that the other stuff that I have to bring, and that's another thing. There are people that have to bring bags. I'm tired of hearing this. Well, I can make it just fine in the park without having a bag. Not everybody can do that. Shut up. But like, you know, I'm okay with putting my bag in a locker as long as it's free. You know, like, you don't charge me a surcharge for something that I need, you know, to ride your ride.
Yeah, so, yeah. We talked about it many times on the show. We continue to do it, so the locker policy is no friend, to at least to us. So we're going to move on and talk about Baba John Land. And we're talking about Fury 325, really. Now we're talking about another Fury. This is going to be a triple launch coaster made by Gerstlauer. It's going to be the tallest triple launch coaster in the Benelux, which is an area in Europe. It's going to have a top height of 141 feet. It'll hold the record for being the fastest coaster in the Benelux, beating Goliath with a max speed of 66 miles per hour. It's going to have 4 inversions, so that's really awesome. You know, we've talked about this on the ride. We talked about this, you know, I think it was maybe close to a year ago when this ride was like announced, or not a couple months ago.
Been a while.
It's been a long time since we talked about this one. And now, but the big reason we're talking about this again, why we're bringing this back up, is because you're gonna be able to choose which way you want to go. I mean, that's a world exclusive feature. It's brand new. This has never been done before that I know of. So there's going to be a button on your restraint that's going to let you choose to do the ride forwards or backwards. So the majority of 12 seats decides. So there's 12 seats. Whatever the majority is, they get to go and decide what way you're going to go. So in case of a tie, because I know a lot of people are going to say, "What happens if the tie? Is the ride going to break down or something? Is it not going to work?" No, it's just going to randomly choose then at that point. So 2 trains will be running and dispatched by a use of a turning platform. So this is really awesome. I mean,
I think this is a spectacular idea. It is going to be frustrating, though, if you want to hit, you want to ride it back.
I want to go forwards.
Like, you've rode it forwards 5 times. You want to ride it backwards, but you just can't get with the right crowd.
That's gonna be annoying.
But I think this is really spectacular. It's really neat innovation, and just something else that just to add to the experience.
Yeah, it looks like a fantastic ride. I'm really when I get out to Europe, I'm looking forward to that severely. I mean, Gerstlauer, for some reason they do like very awesome and innovative rides outside of the United States. When they come to the United States, it's just like their regular old Infinities, and I mean they're still great rides, but you got Carden over there, you got now you're getting Fury, and it seems like everything great that they've done on like another scale. I mean, there are some great rides here by Gerstlauer, but on another scale is in Europe.
Yeah, we need more parks to buy them. I think that's what it boils down to. The parks that are buying the Gerstlauers are ones that want more of a package, cheaper solution. So we just need parks buying them.
Yes, we do. I agree with that. So that's about it for that. Baba John Land's getting Fury. You're gonna be able to choose which way you're gonna go. It's gonna be awesome. But now is a surprising thing. I mean, this is it's been misinterpreted, as me and Bob discussed before the show. Busch Gardens Williamsburg is canceling Project Madrid, but it's a little misleading.
Don't panic.
It's misleading because me and Bob were talking about this before the show, and I was a little lost on it as well. He's explained that this is not actually the case. This is the Project Madrid that we thought was happening a couple of years ago when we believed they were going to be opening up like a whole new section of the park, like a new land. That was Project Madrid, and still the 180-foot multi-launch coaster is still coming. So don't worry about that.
So basically what's going on is right now, and this is the thing that's also confusing people, and I really, part of me thinks that BGW is intending this confusion because they like to obscure things, but they've already applied for a height waiver for Project 2021, and that height waiver is 355 feet. That right now is being contested by the residents of Kings Mills, who is a neighboring development near Busch Gardens. But that's the situation we're in right now. But that has nothing to do with the coaster that is coming next year, which everybody it's pretty certain to be the Intamin multi-launch with the fast switch and the spike. that's happening. I mean, there's equipment already on site. It's obviously, moving forward. What was actually canceled was Project Madrid. So now this is what people don't really know. What was Madrid? That's kind of up in the air. Personally, I think Madrid was a much bigger project that got scrapped. And these two projects that are happening now, Project 2020 and Project 2021, I think are parts of what was supposed to be Project Madrid. Now this is speculation. Me personally, I would not be surprised if we're about a few years away from Busch Gardens Williamsburg actually having a Giga, and possibly the tallest Giga in existence outside of the accelerators and shuttle coasters. Mm-hmm. I just have this feeling that we're going to see back-to-back Intamins. It might also be Project 2021 might become 2022. But either way, I think we're about to see some pretty exciting stuff come out of Busch Gardens. But don't panic. The coasters are still coming. Madrid was something else. What was canceled was mostly unrelated to this.
I always thought it was going to be a new section of the park, Madrid. That's what it's always been wanting. That's what the enthusiasts have always wanted.
The interesting thing about that is everybody kind of dismissed that idea. But now that this happened, I'm kind of like, well, there was supposed to be this bigger project that's not happening. It kind of makes me wonder if it actually was another themed section of the park, and the two coasters were actually supposed to be attractions in that new themed area. And what they've decided to do was scrap the themed area for now, and just add the coasters to existing lands. Because the interesting thing is, both of these coasters, well, the one coaster is in Italy, the other potential flat ride, something, is over where Dragonfire used to be. Yeah. So if you think about it, those could be connected by another land off to the side. So it just all kind of makes sense. And even for this other attraction for Project 2021, most of the soil samples that they need are already done. So it looks like they really were planning a lot of different things. But it's boiling down to right now, we're just going to get this coaster is coming next year, and some other attraction that's 355 feet tall. Some people are considering it might be a Star Flyer or something of that type. But some of the wording in documents that have been filed and stuff kind of make it look like it's likely to be a coaster.
Yeah, yes, I agree. Yeah, so that's exciting stuff going on. I mean, Busch Gardens, if what you're saying is true, if what anyone's saying is true, with that, you get the Intamin multi-launch, and then we get the Giga. I don't think we're going to have one of the best top five. You're going to look at our top five, and you're going to have, this is, again, interchangeable. We're going to have a Giga. I don't know, B&M, Intamin, Mac, whatever you want to say. At this point, it's, up to just dispute. Not really anything's proven yet. But that's just, hypothetical. We're almost 100% getting the Intamin multi-launch. That's going to be great. Apollo's Chariot, Alpengeist, Griffin, Verboten, however you want to put it. That's going to be a very, 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 very solid top five.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's going to be crazy. That's going to be great.
And I do think, though, there's a very high likelihood that the Giga, the alleged Giga, would actually be an Intamin, because SeaWorld kind of likes to do, they like to buy patterns, attractions in pairs.
Yeah.
So, patterns, if they're buying one attraction from Intamin, they're good. Yeah, let's just buy two. So I think they
might have struck an agreement with them to build a certain amount of rides within their park chain.
Yeah, and really, they're not hiding the fact that they're going after King's Dominion. They see King's Dominion flopping around, and they're like, oh, we're going straight in for the kill here. Having two Intamins there, that just adds
never working with Intamin before, and now all of a sudden, bam.
Yeah, it's like, oh, well, let's do. I really think in Cedar Fair's case, that's one of the things they're missing out on the most, is not working with Intamin, because Yes, I know they're a hassle sometimes, but their attractions speak for themselves. They're
Exactly.
crowd pleasers.
Yeah, they're great. So speaking of a Giga coaster coming, and this is one that's been talked about a while, just as long as the Busch Gardens one's been talked about. Kings Island's also been talked about, and now it's basically confirmed that it's happening and that the Giga, we've seen blueprints. But first, I do want to talk about that a couple of weeks ago, Orion and Polaris were trademarked for Kings Island's new coaster name. So obviously Orion is the constellation, and Polaris is the North Star. So these are two pretty solid names. I don't think either of these are awful names. So I'm glad about
No,
that.
I think they fit,
Yeah, I think they fit really well.
especially that area with X Base.
Yes, yeah, it's like the space area. So personally, I think Orion is the more solid name, but I could care less either one they choose. I'm curious because Cedar Fair has been doing really good with this. What the logo was going to be. The logos of the past attractions they've created. I mean, Copperhead Strike, Twisted Timbers, Mystic Timbers. They've been very well done logos, and I like designing logos and seeing logos designed. And I have a pretty good logo in my opinion, so I like seeing logos being made. So I would like to see what kind of logo they come up with either Orion or Polaris. But talking more about the actual ride. We have blueprints that have been released, and technically it's not official because the park has not announced anything. So technically this is unofficial, but I mean, pretty much they were from Mason's courthouse, I believe. The documents that KI Central found these, and we got some stats.
KI Central and Park Fans actually both obtained them the same day, which was kind of interesting. But that kind of adds to the legitimacy that they came from a legitimate source.
Reliable source.
Hitting at the same time.
Yeah. So some of the stats that were released is going to have a 301 foot drop, which is pretty disappointing. I was hoping it would be in the 350s. That was what a lot of people were speculating it'd be in the 350s, but it doesn't look like we're getting anything close to there. 301 foot, 181 foot overbank, 174 feet down, and then up into 181 into the reverse treble clef. So similar to Fury.
Or possibly non-inverting dive loop. It's one or the other.
Yeah, it's one or the other, but it's pretty, they're pretty similar elements. So then it's going to go down the 194 foot, underneath the reverse treble clef / non-inverting loop. 62 foot bunny hill, down 54 feet off that bunny hill, up to the 139 trim brake. Down 138, beginning into the helix, which the helix is it's an upward helix. We haven't.
Yeah, it's very interesting.
We haven't seen that since like Nitro. Nitro was I believe the last one to have like an upward helix, which was opened in 2000, early 2000s. So I'm interested to see that because I think Fury's isn't really upward. I think it's like pretty level. Mako's. I don't think does Mako even have a helix?
I can't recall.
I don't think it does, but so this is really interesting. We haven't seen an upward helix in a while from B&M, so that's gonna. I'm hoping that'll retain the same because as much as I dislike Nitro, I will say that helix is very intense, and you get that intensity in your legs. You feel it's similar to Raptors, where in Raptor you feel like your legs lose circulation, and Nitro you feel that as well. So as much as I do give Nitro, some criticism a lot. That part of the ride is awesome. So I'm hoping that that'll retain some of the same intensity that Nitro has. So you'll do that helix. You'll go up top, 109 foot top helix, down 107 foot down the helix, and then the 88 foot drop towards the brake run, down the 56 last drop, and up into the 46 foot into the actual brake run. So, I mean, that's not terrible stats.
No, it's I think the big takeaway from it is it's really short, and it's kind of it's not what people were expecting out of Cedar Fair. Usually when Cedar Fair builds something, they go for the marketing and they put a whole lot of ride in between the marketing. And this kind of feels like they were just wanting to meet the stats to make it marketable and call it a Giga. Mm-hmm. Which kind of concerns me because every time I start thinking maybe Cedar Fair is actually doing the right thing, and then it kind of something else happens and some mediocrity kind of pokes its head. But I don't want to harp on this coaster. I think the coaster is going to be a fun coaster. For me, it just seems like 301 feet, Diamondbacks there. Like, I don't know. What's its purpose? I think if you put this ride at another park, it would be really, really great. But going to Kings Island, I don't know. I don't think it's going to stand out that much. But again, that's not saying that I don't think it's going to be fun.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of stats, it's very reminiscent of the likes of Leviathan, which I think I have as my number 6. See, when I rode that, I was on the B&M fanboy craze, and I still love B&M. They're still my second favorite manufacturer. I know people, I have them in front of Intamin, but I mean, I've gotten past that. B&M is the greatest, like no other company can touch them. I was on that like Riding Fury, and then I got on Leviathan, and I'm like, holy crap, it's better. So I have a feeling that when I ride that, it's going to kind of drop down. I think it'll probably i305 will slide up in front of it. I don't know, maybe Twisted Timbers. So not to say it's a bad ride, but I think I don't think it's definitely not going to be one of the strongest. I mean, I could definitely see like people saying Millennium Force is better, and rides, even like Leviathan's better. I mean, I could see things like that being said.
See, and that's kind of the thing that's been said a lot is, well, you have another coaster like Diamondback's about airtime, which B&M's good at, the floater air. That's what they're really good at with their hypers. And this new one is more for the speed. The problem in my mind is I don't think of B&M as the company that does that. As people would point to i305 being a really short ride. It is, and it is spectacular, but that's what Intamin's good at. They're good at being super intense. I just don't like. That's like if this coaster with the exact stats was an Intamin, I'd be a lot more excited because I think they'd be able to do more with the low stats.
They can pack the punch.
Right, where B&M, they're not like it's like to me that doesn't feel like their forte. I don't know. It seems weird. It seems odd to me. I do think it's interesting though. A lot of people keep saying, "Oh, Cedar Fair will not give Kings Island something that will one up something at Cedar Point." Many people disagree with this, but I still say that Cedar Fair is pushing for Kings Island to be more of a flagship park than Cedar Point in the distant future. Not immediately, but I don't think that's the case. I think the reason why this isn't like a spectacular thing isn't because they don't want to beat Cedar Point. It's because I just don't think they wanted to spend the money.
I know, but like literally make it 5 feet taller and it beats Millennium. So like, why not?
But who knows?
And I don't think how much money that's not really gonna, a couple $100 maybe to add a couple more feet onto a ride in terms of height. Not maybe.
I think it's gonna be more than a couple hundred. But
I mean, to add 4 feet onto a ride, you think it's gonna be more than a couple $100? I really don't think that pushes the budget at all. To go from 301 feet to 306. I don't even. That might not even change the budget. I mean, I don't even know that changes the budget at all. Honestly, I mean, so I don't know that, but
I don't know. I can't. I
honestly,
I'm not going to pretend to be an engineer.
I honestly don't think that would change the budget at all. Maybe like a little bit, but not at the point that would really like matter to Cedar Fair. It would be like a penny in the bucket there for them. I mean, I'm not saying like make it 4,000 feet longer or anything. I'm saying 4 feet higher. So I don't think that would really affect the budget at all. Nearly, to the amount that would like actually be in like a mode where they're like, whoa, that's too much of the budget. I feel like that would barely touch the budget there for them. So I don't know.
The thing is, though, every foot you add on, the more you have to add track to it to absorb the speed. It's not just making it a little bit taller.
4 feet, I don't think. I think you definitely could, though. I mean, come on. I think you can add 4 feet and not affect the ride at all. You could keep it pretty simple.
I agree it would be trivial, but I think it's a little more complicated than you're making it out to be.
I mean, I know it obviously is that they have to change a little bit of the design factors, but in all, well, they just originally designed it like 5 feet taller. Like, I'm not saying like go back now and change the actual blueprints to make it, but why like originally were they thinking, Why
Probably because in their mind they're thinking, well, like, what's the cheapest we can do? Well, 301 feet will make it a giga.
Why not 300 then? Why not 300? That's still okay. Like,
Well, actually it is 300.9 feet, so it's not even 301 feet. It's not actually, the height of it is actually 280 some feet. The drop is 300.9 feet, according to the blueprint. So it's not even 301 feet.
man, and this is just like, I feel like this is something Six Flags would do.
That's exactly what I was thinking. Although Six Flags isn't really making much investments like this.
I mean, they have they don't even have a giga in their parks. I mean, some people count Superman, but like I don't really count that. Escape from Krypton, because that's technically a strata in terms of height. I know it doesn't actually fully make it up that spike, but you know, they don't have a traditional giga in any of their parks.
Yeah,
that's a little strange. I feel like they should definitely invest in one of those.
But they're doing a lot better than Cedar Fair right now,
yeah,
though.
I think this is the route that this sounds like a route that Six Flags would go, but I don't know.
Yeah, it just to me feels like they're like, you know, in a way, people have been saying Kings Island needs a giga. Maybe this is Cedar Fair's way of saying, okay, shut up now. Here you go. Like, just now you can't say you want a giga. You got one. I don't know. It's also possible B&M does something out of the ordinary and spectacular, and everybody goes, holy crap, this is a new B&M thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not banking on it. But you know, we don't know.
Yeah, we don't know anything until they release anything or announce anything. For all we know, technically these blueprints could be changed by, the time they release everything. I mean,
hey, they could scrap the entire thing.
Exactly. You never know with parks. They do this thing all the time. I mean, like a couple years ago, I don't know if you remember this, but Six Flags Fiesta Texas, like GCI blueprints were released and leaked everywhere, and people were like, they're getting a GCI, and like this is when they were supposed to get Wonder Woman last year, but it was like 2017 and then they announced the Raptor a little bit after that. But they had announced there was like a GCI blueprints and everything, and they were like, this is what's happening, and those were completely fake, and none of them were real, and we got a Raptor. We didn't even get a wooden coaster, so I'm not saying anything drastic like that's gonna happen, but something along those lines could happen.
The design is so, like, the designs on this is so precise that it's a lot of money to do a fake. Like, I know, but there's a lot of work that went into
Fiesta Texas were pretty detailed too, and I thought they looked very realistic. But I don't know. I mean, who knows though? I mean, it's just a matter of time.
Yeah, it is possible for them to scrap it. I did see some people discussing. They thought that Firehawk was actually supposed to last through this season, and they were like, the Giga was supposed to come next year. And then Firehawk just couldn't make it, so they decided to bump it up early, which might also be why they cut costs. But I don't know.
We'll wait. I mean, we can speculate now, and then we'll just wait for the actual announcement. That's the best we can do.
I personally feel like the Cedar Fair just doesn't want to spend the money that they used to spend.
Yeah.
But it's okay. SeaWorld's taking care of us.
Exactly. We don't need Cedar Fair. Honestly, I don't even know if I might not even get Cedar Fair Platinum passes next year. I mean, I'll go to Cedar Point and I'll go to King's Dominion, and that's about it. I don't know if Platinum Pass will be worth it. Maybe I'll go to Kings Island, so maybe that'll make it worth it. But I'm going to do the SeaWorld parks. I'd rather do those.
It's funny because it's been a debate of mine because SeaWorld passes are so expensive. In comparison. So for me, I was like, well, I don't know if I want to spend this money on a SeaWorld pass again for next year. But the more that this year's going on, I'm thinking, well, I think I'd rather, if I need to make up the money somewhere, I think I'd rather cut out my Cedar Fair pass. Because SeaWorld now, all of a sudden, even though like I always felt like they were way too expensive, now I feel like that money's actually going somewhere.
It's worth it, yeah.
Yeah, and even though it's not there yet, it's worth paying because I know they're taking my money and they're actually doing something with it that I would enjoy.
Exactly, yeah. Yeah, so, again, Kings Island's getting the Giga Coaster. I mean, a little disappointing, but, I mean, it's a Giga, so we can't complain. And like we said, could be completely... We don't know. This is not anything official. Technically, it's still classified as unofficial. Yeah. But it looks pretty solid. So we'll see in the next coming months. It should be announced if it's real. So here we go.
Hey, any coaster is a good coaster.
Exactly. Yeah, and especially B&M. So B&M's always, even if the ride isn't as insane as an Intamin or It has airtime packed. It's still a fantastic ride. I
It's
mean,
yeah,
Fury
still
is
that.
still my favorite Giga over all of the Intamins and their other B&M Leviathan. So I don't know. We'll see.
I won't get that far.
Yeah, you won't, but I will. Let's move on to the
Fury's
next
good,
segment.
but yeah,
Yeah, we'll
I don't
move.
know. I-305.
We can have that debate another day. Let's move on to the next segment we like to call Coaster Craze.
How do we do on time there?
What?
How do we do on time?
35 minutes. That's pretty.
That's actually not too bad.
Why is it not pausing?
Huh?
Nothing. I'm just confused with my Audacity there for a second.
What is with the spam email for drones all of a sudden?
For drones?
Yeah, I get emails all the time like the best drone, buy it now, blah blah blah. Like, I mean,
I
pure.
don't know, my friend. I'm not getting any of those.
At least I'm not getting Viagra, but I mean, it's kind of a weird. I don't know. It's bizarre.
So should we start out with the Carowinds? Do you think this is a good order, or should we start out with Hollywood Nights, or what?
Um. Yeah, I think we could start out with like where we've been, and then we move into where we're going. I don't. I don't know. Does that make sense?
Okay. Start it back up then.
Let you talk about Carowinds, and then I'll talk a little bit about Six Flags America.
Yeah. I know I'm gonna start it off too, because I don't get. I'm just starting this off in a funny way.
Go for it.
So, Bob, I know a couple of weeks ago we were more me if anybody, but we were bashing on Copperhead a little bit when it was first opening, and people were comparing it to the likes of Maverick and saying how great of a ride it was. We were like, I mean, it looks good, blah blah blah. It looks good. We don't know though. We thought it was going to be a little disappointing, and I just rode it a couple weeks ago, and I can tell you guys that it over exceeded my expectations big time. I was expecting to maybe slide my top 35, and it actually made it to my number 20 spot, and I never thought it would come close to cracking my top 15, and it did. I mean, it was right on the line of beating the likes of Alpengeist and other rides that I really Banshee rides that I really love. It was close to beating those. It did beat Apollo's Chariot. It beat rides like other rides like Thunderhead, Dollywood. So it beat a couple of great rides and attractions.
You said it beat Apollo's Chariot in your
Yeah,
book?
it did. It beat Apollo's
That's
Chariot.
impressive because I know how much you love Apollo's.
I love Apollos. I love Apollos.
I was kind of I think it was more you that was
Yeah, I know. It was more me, definitely, but
down on it.
We were
I was
both-
kind of more optimistic, I think.
okay. Well, you can play that card now. But yeah, I mean, that ride, it ran so great, and at nighttime especially, like, if I'd gotten a day ride on it, because I rode it the next day, and I'm like, yeah, that was good, but nowhere, the night ride on that front row is insane, and I'm usually a back row rider, but on this ride, and a couple other rides, there's a few exceptions, like Twisted Cyclone, other rides like that, I actually prefer in the back, on the front, but this is one of those rides, and it's out of this world. You get like very, very good ejector air time, insane hang time. It's just amazing. And the Stangle dive it has like towards the end of the ride, it throws you out of your seat. It's just a crazy ride, and it really did blow my expectations. Because some people were like it was really weird. Some people were comparing it to Maverick, and then some people were saying it's a family coaster. I mean, you can't have it both ways. So I was little.
What, Maverick's not a family coaster? Huh?
Maverick is not a family coaster, Bob. You didn't know that?
Oh, what? But it's so short. It's so
Short
It's
in terms
not
of
tall,
height. Yeah,
like-
exactly. But people were saying, I'm like, it's a family coaster, and some people were saying it's Maverick. So I was like, you got to pick a side here. What is it? So I wrote it, and I can confirm it's not a family coaster. I mean, it's not Maverick level, but I mean, number 20, and Maverick's my number like 5. So, I mean, in terms of ranking, that's not too far off from Maverick. I don't think it's definitely not as strong as Maverick in terms of speed and height and blah blah blah. But overall ride experience, it's pretty dang good. So it's pretty great, and it's definitely a great addition to Carowinds. My second favorite coaster there now. it did beat Afterburn. Like I will say now, it did beat Afterburn, and I love Afterburn too. That was one of my favorite inverts for a while. It's actually dropped back a few. I actually have Alpengeist ahead of it now and Banshee, but I still love Afterburn to death. So yeah, I mean that's a pretty big step, but I do want to go into more of the trip that I took to Carowinds, because it wasn't just a regular old trip driving down there and staying at a hotel. I actually did a Carowinds coaster campout trip, and what we did basically is, in the name, we camped out at the park. But more about it, it wasn't, obviously we didn't camp out in the roller coaster station or anything, but it was right in front of Intimidator, and that was insane. It was great to just be in a park. I mean, probably none of you have done this, but at 1 a.m, I was walking around the park, and there's nobody there. Fury still has that big bright green light on, and that's it. That's the only lights in the park. Everything else is shut off. It's dark, and you're just in the park by yourself. That is just crazy. And after the ERT on Copperhead Strikes, that was closer to like 10:30. We're walking under Nighthawk, and it's just peaceful and quiet, and you can finally hear the birds chirping. It's not that terrible, like Cedar Fair pop music playing and all the people talking. You can hear the birds, and it's a surreal experience. It's just amazing. It was really, and that's not even to top it off. I mean, we had an awesome movie. We got to watch the Peanuts movie and get some free popcorn and free soda. So that was pretty great. We got to roast s'mores. We got free dinner earlier that day, and obviously we got the ERT. We got breakfast in the morning, which I actually quite enjoyed. They had good pancakes, good bacon, good eggs. We got to go ride Fury ERT in the morning. So I mean, that right there. I mean, I think the event is overall about $250 per tent, per campsite. And I mean, and if you think about what you're getting from that, I think that's totally worth the $250. I mean, you got an hour and a half of ERT on Copperhead, an hour on Fury, free dinner, free breakfast, free snacks with the popcorn and drinks. I mean, it's great. It's a great experience. And I also got to talk to the marketing leader of marketing at Carowinds. He was really nice, and he actually, we talked for a while about Cedar Fair and everything, and talked about how I got into the marketing position, because I want to be working someday. I would like to work at a park or work with a park. So I'd like to be an engineer, but I'd like to work with a park eventually too. So we just talked to him, and that was really cool. It's just an awesome experience. And so that's something I've never been able to do. So that was a great event. I'd highly recommend it to anybody. I know one of our friends, Bob, I won't name her on air, but it is a female. And I think you know exactly who it is. But she was saying, like, I don't like to camp, blah, blah, blah. I don't care if you don't like to camp or not. This is an experience that you have to do, regardless if you're a big camper. I've camped like 2 times in my life other than this one event. So I'm not by any means a camper. I don't like to camp. I don't like go out of my way to camp. But what you get out of this event is so much more than sleeping on the floor. It is, like I said, everything it's a real experience that I've never gotten at a park before, ever. So I don't think, if you don't like to camp, suck it up, Buttercup. You gotta. This is worth the trip. This is worth the stay. And Bob, I know you went to Six Flags America, so we'll talk more about that now.
Yeah. So it's kind of funny how Six Flags America is like everybody's like, oh, Six Flags America. Like, I don't know. I've always found I mean, I went through a phase after the whole Six Flags Ohio thing. I didn't visit another Six Flags park until it was the end of 2017. I decided to go to Six Flags America. So we're talking well over a decade. So Six Flags Ohio was done in like 2001 or something like that. So yeah, like I just didn't want to go near Six Flags because like it's Six Flags. But I finally broke down in 2017 and went to Six Flags America, and like I was really impressed. It's not what I remember Six Flags being. The park is really clean, and it's really nice atmosphere. Ops do leave a lot to be desired, but at the same time, it's usually not that busy of a park. However, the reason why I went to Six Flags at this point is, I think it was April 20th. It was because I realized that I hadn't processed my season pass, and I had to process it that day to get the free parking. Oh crap, I better go. So I went. Apparently I was not the only one that did this, because I've never seen the park so busy in my life. It was pretty horrible as far as the crowd was concerned. And I had never seen so many basketballs and I don't know what it is with parks. Why do you have to give basketballs and other types of balls as prizes for games? Please explain that to me, because I'm tired of getting hit by them. I had flashbacks to like middle school gym class. But I have to say, I was extremely impressed with a couple things. First of all, Roar. I've always loved Roar, but Roar is running so spectacularly well this year. It's actually amazing. Wild One is running pretty good. Superman's running great. Batwing is another topic. I actually did get to ride Batwing. I rode it, waited in line forever, and then I came back up because Batwing's often that
Weird cold
distance,
effect,
like way down there.
it's just a strange. Yeah, it's a strange.
It's not quite the bat at Kings Island, but it's getting there.
Yeah, it is.
But I rode it, and I was walking back up and got on Superman. And as I was getting off Superman, I looked down, and the train was at the bottom of the lift. There was like one car up on the lift, and it was just sitting there. And there was just a mass of people walking up from that area. As I was walking down the ramp, I saw the train move up slightly up the ramp, maybe like a quarter of or not the ramp, but the chain lift about a quarter of the way, and it remained there. And as far as anybody can tell, I think it's remained there since, because I've talked to other people that have been there since, and they've said that the train is still sitting on the lift hill. So it's starting to look concerning that Batwing may not be with us much longer. It may go the way of Firehawk, which is unfortunate if we end up losing both of them.
Yeah, in the same year.
Yeah, it's kind of. I hope kind of hope they do something. It's such a unique ride, and it's kind of a big part of Six Flags America. It's actually, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's one of the few newer, quote newer unquote coasters that was actually built at Six Flags America. I don't know. I think it was built there. I don't think that came from another park. Yeah. Most of Six Flags America's coasters came from other Six Flags parks. Let me just double check that, because now I don't want to give you wrong information. But anyway, moving on. Yeah, Batwing was actually built there in 2001.
Yes.
So that was it's kind of unique. It's kind of a big part of that park. So hopefully they can do something. But there's also been those rumors about Green Lantern at Magic Mountain. They fired it up right before they closed it down, which to me says they're making sure it runs before they send it to another park. Makes me wonder if Batwing's going to be replaced with a Intamin Zaxpin.
God, no, that'd be terrible.
I don't know. I've never been on them. I know
I've heard they're pretty. I've heard they're pretty bad.
What I've heard is actually Six Flags weighted that down. Like they demanded that it was weighted, and it actually wasn't running the way that Intamin actually intended it to run. I don't know. I can't say. I haven't actually been on any of the free spins either.
I've been on the SNS free spins. They're good.
Yeah, but yeah, it's kind of sad to see Batwing not operating. But it was, even though it was busy, it was an okay day. I mean, for the most part, Six Flags America is definitely a nice park to visit. It's not, you may hear a lot of stuff about it, but just go visit it for yourself.
Quality-wise, I don't think it's terrible. The customer service is what really gets me. I know I've told the story, so I'm not going to tell the story again, but I've had a couple of incidents with the customer service there that just weren't very good. And
I think the thing about the customer service there is it's really spotty. You have people that are just horrible at their job, and then there's also people that are rather good at their job. So you could get lucky. The food, I don't like the food.
It's terrible. The food's terrible. The atmosphere is not great. The clientele is pretty trash. I mean, I know that they're in a bad area, but I mean, it's just not nice clientele.
Like I
plain-
don't
plain-
other than the line jumping, which that is out of control, and they have to do something about line jumping. Other than that, I don't really run into any issues.
I just can't stand people just being freaks and morons at a park. It just really annoys me when people are
Well, take
cursing and
basketballs away from
smoking, cigarettes while you're walking around the park, and it's just they don't care either. You can look at them all you want or tell them that's not right until like a cop shows up and tells them they got to do something, or a security guard comes up, or not. They don't even
speaking of
listen
which,
to employees. But
while I was waiting in line for Superman, the police did show up.
what a coincidence!
There actually was a fight. It was
and things like that, fighting that happens too.
But I will say that was the first time I ever actually saw that happen at Six Flags America.
No, that's happened before, yeah.
But I'm sure it's happened. It's happened at other. I mean, well, look at Worlds of Fun. They just recently had a brawl, so it can happen anywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, go check it out. It's not as horrible as you hear. Some of the stuff is true.
That's I agree. It's not as horrible as it.
Take it with a grain of salt. I think this is one of the things I was explaining to some people in a conversation about the whole like the growth of Cedar Fair, Six Flags, and SeaWorld and stuff. And there's kind of like this, Cedar Fair is stuck in this middle that doesn't work well. SeaWorld gives you really, really good customer service, but it costs a lot. Six Flags is just so cheap that you just go there and expect to be crapped on. So you don't feel gypped when you go and you have a bad experience. Cedar Fair's in this middle ground where it seems like it's expensive and they're not really taking care of their guests the same way they used to. So that's kind of the thing. Six Flags is, I mean,
I still think customer service wise, Cedar Fair is pretty good. I mean, I've talked with a lot of executives and I know multiple people that work there, and I've never really had a terrible experience. I've had some people that have been jerks, and but I've never had an experience that I've had like at Six Flags parks.
I'll tell you, this year at Kings Dominion, the customer service has been exceptionally bad. I've had people completely ignore my existence. I actually had a supervisor completely ignore my existence for 5 minutes and literally left the stand without even acknowledging me. Left me there like there was no other employees. That's not what I typically see at Cedar Fair parks. But I don't know. It's just like I wouldn't say Cedar Fair's customer service is bad. It's just sometimes I don't feel like you get what you pay for.
Well, discussing the higher ups too. I mean, like Six Flags, they're just a bunch of bloodsuckers. They just want the money. I mean, I've talked with corporate there, and they could care less about the. I mean, I've talked to the park president of Six Flags Great Adventure. I've met with the park president of Six Flags New England. I mean, I've met a lot of those guys, and they don't really seem to care. They're like, hey, how are you? And that's kind of like, well, Cedar Fair, I go there and they're like, yeah, love the park. And
Six
blah,
Flags
blah, blah.
America actually, I think, has a pretty decent management team.
Yeah, I know them. I know. Yeah, we talked to them.
And they're actually pretty decent. I actually really like them.
They're still pretty corporate, though. It's not like,
they're
not down-to-earth people. Like, Tony Johnson from King's Dominion. I really like him a lot. He's a really nice dude.
Well, so... See, that's another thing with Cedar Fair is it's more Cedar Fair that the issues with. Like the individual parks, I think, have great management teams, but they get their hands tied by corporate.
I don't think their corporate's bad. I mean, I've met pretty much all. I read Rob Decker, Richard Zimmerman. I've met all those guys. They are generally nice. Generally nice.
They are,
guys
but I'm
too.
talking like the board and the people behind the scenes, the people
True.
that you
yeah.
generally don't see. I think that's where the hands get tied a lot.
Yeah. Okay. I get what you're saying. Yeah, but really, let's talk about Six Flags America. We kind of got off topic there, but and the overall parks, Six Flags, I don't think has the greatest customer service in terms of the company, but like you said, it's spotty. You can have some good and have some bad.
Yeah.
Busch Gardens Williamsburg unveiled their new attraction, Finnegan's Flyer, and me and Bob were actually there it was the weekend after it officially opened, and we all rode it.
Yep.
We didn't ride it together actually, but we did ride it, and I rode it thank God, facing the station, so I was getting the waterfront view. I can't. You did not, correct? You did not ride it that way.
I actually rode it both ways.
You did, okay.
Yeah, I later
Yeah, you went
later
back.
that
Yeah, you
night
went
I
back.
went back. Yeah, and I love it. Definitely facing the entry, the station, the ride operator is definitely better because you get that just like you're just like hanging face down towards the water. It's pretty awesome. I mean, Skyhawk, in comparison, for some reason everybody holds Skyhawk up as the de facto screaming swing. They don't really. I don't know. I wish Cedar Point would run more of a cycle. I was kind of hoping Finnegan's Flyer had a longer cycle.
I know when we first saw the testing footage, everyone was like, "Look, there's the long cycle." We were looking.
Yeah.
And then, of course, you only get 4 cycles, sadly.
Yeah, but I think just the location of it, just hanging out over the water there, is just adds a new dimension to it that makes it pretty spectacular.
Yeah. I would like to go to some of the Passwater ERT because I'm sure that, at the very last ride of the night, you could maybe say, "Can we run this for a couple more cycles?" And it's I feel like eventually the Passwater ERTs, there's going to be, because I went to Invaders ERT last year and the year before, and in the Passwater ERT, you get like 20 or 30 people, and then by the end of the night, there's just like a couple people. So you could say like, okay, there's not that many people here. Can we run a few cycles with exceeding the I don't know, like, I don't know if they have like I don't know if it's 4 or 5 that they like have to do it, or they just kind of randomly choose whenever they, how many, depending on the line or what. But can we run this a little bit more than you guys usually do? I know they did that when we were at Six Flags Great Adventure on a ride that's no longer there anymore. El Diablo, the Super Loop. They held that for we were going for like a solid 10 minutes. I'm not even joking. We were going on that for 10 minutes and going and going and going and going and going. So I feel like they could do that for this ride. The
interesting thing about that, though, is the reason why they actually got rid of El Diablo is because it was manually controlled. So they had the ability to do that. Their new one is an automatic cycle. So I don't know who it is that has the ability to make that cycle longer. And I don't know, I don't know how SNS's control systems work.
I feel like, we saw the testing and they ran longer cycles. I feel like it's
possible. Yeah, but you're going to have maintenance there at that time. They could definitely do more than what potentially a regular ride operator could.
Yeah, I don't know. But
it's hard to say.
I guess that's something that you could ask and at least see at the Passwater ERT. That's why I would attend that. But yeah, Finnegan's Flyer, fantastic ride. I really love the color scheme. I love how it wasn't just like a regular bland old, just a couple of colors on there. But it's just I love the decor on the actual the support structures with the vines going up the side of the ride. I think that's really awesome. When they first announced this, I was like, they need to have like vines wrapping up the ride, and they do in a way. It's painted on there; it's not real, but it still looks pretty great. And that's one of the things that, like, over time, the more that fades, the more that's going to look like cool, because it's going to look like it's faded like vines, and it's going to look kind of run down. So that's something that it's going to add to the theming, because unlike most rides where if the paint fades, it's going to look bad, this might actually make it look better. So I thought that was kind of ironic.
Yeah. But Busch Gardens doesn't mess around with theming, so
yeah, exactly.
It's kind of to be expected,
and
it's part of the reason why Busch Gardens is great.
For me, I've never liked their flat ride collection as much as other parks. I know that's obviously. Ben,
they don't really have a lot.
Exactly, they don't. But one of the reasons I don't really like the stations for their flat rides. Like Mock Tower Station's kind of bad, I think. I'm not a huge fan of Finnegan's Station. I think it's kind of weird. And especially for like a new ride. That ride, they didn't really build a station for like the amount of people that were going to be in line. Like there was already a line like on the bridge for a while there.
Well, so, this is kind of the interesting thing. This is something that boggles my mind. But it's like Skyhawk, it is Skyhawk, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Okay, it like seems to never really have a line. So I'm wondering if they're
they might be preparing for that kind of
like
capacity.
that. They may think, hey, SNS, these the screaming swings generally later don't maintain that level.
But I'm sure Cedar Point on a busy day, Skyhawk will have a pretty long line.
I've been there when it's been busy, and it's still not like. I think the longest I've ever waited for that swing was like 15 minutes, maybe 20.
I know the one at Dollywood had a long line when I was there. It was like
Really?
maybe half an hour. Yeah.
Um,
And I feel
yeah,
like,
I mean, maybe other parts too, but
but the queue building that they built for that still like only hold like a 15-minute line. So if you're exceeding that, it's like going outside of the going out because we moved really fast. When we first got there, I'm like, this is going to be a long line in that queue, and that was only like a 10-minute line, even though it was like almost fill up the entire queue. So
yeah.
it was just I feel like that ride's definitely going to get, especially the summer, because it's going to be the brand new attraction. A lot of people are going to be heading right there, getting in that. So I don't know, and I feel like it's definitely gonna be a ride that is more popular during the morning hours because it's right at the beginning of at the front of the park. So it's gonna be rides that towards the night it's gonna kind of depopulate.
Does Busch Gardens really have that effect though? Because being that it's like a circle, don't people start different directions and kind of?
No, I mean I've noticed that the front of the park is usually more busy. In terms of like if you go to Apollo's in the morning, that'll have a lot of people there already. But then you go like for Bolton and Griffin in the morning, and they'll be like deserted. There'll be like no one there. And then that effect kind of reverses towards the end of the night. And in the afternoon, you start getting Verbolten having a really long line, and then Apollo's for some reason, will only have like 30, 45. Well, Verbolten will have like a 2-hour line. Or Griffin's even had like that full queue there with them. So yeah,
so you're saying pretty much everybody goes the same direction.
Yeah, I think a lot of people go the Apollos. They either go like straight over to Apollos or they go to that Ireland section. Not a lot of people go straight to Scotland. I've noticed. Usually, like the people are sprouting out into like.
Well, yeah, because that's like Heart Attack Hill.
Exactly. Yeah.
Who wants to do that?
Yeah, but Finnegan's Flyer, fantastic ride. Me and Bob both really enjoyed it, and thank God it's at our home park because we're gonna get to ride it. Great. I've been always wanting to Screaming Swing close by because the closest one to us is in Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh. Kennywood is probably the closest because that Dollywood's further away than Pittsburgh is from where I live. So Kennywood is the closest other than this one here now at Busch Gardens, Williamsburg. So
yeah, because Dorney got rid of theirs.
Dorney got rid of theirs. Yeah,
Dorney had an awesome one.
Yeah, they had like the 2-person one.
Yeah, it was an upscale. Oh my god, that thing was or upcharge.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that thing was amazing.
Yeah, I was hoping when I was going last year. I was watching POVs of that Screaming Swing. I'm like, holy crap, this is gonna be awesome. And then I'm like, wait, where is it on the map? Is it not here anymore? And I'm like, what? They got rid of it?
I was disappointed when it disappeared too. I love that. I rode it a couple times, and oh my god, that was amazing.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Which makes me wonder what happened to it. Why'd they like?
Yeah,
it just seems weird that it just kind of got forgotten about. It just disappeared, and nobody noticed.
Yeah, nobody like talked about it, or nothing was
like,
really brought up about that.
And why'd they get rid of it?
Yeah, I don't know. But talking about great rides, Bob, we talked about this a lot
coming up
at the beginning of the show. We're gonna have some great rides ahead of us this next weekend coming up. I mean, we can talk about Kentucky Kingdom first, but we're going to Hollywood Nights as well. So I mean, it's just.
Well, I will tell you, Kentucky Kingdom, I am really excited for.
Yeah.
I'm excited for Kentucky Flyer, but I'm also excited to try out this Chance GTX.
Storm Chaser and Lightning Run. So, Lightning Run looks great. Yeah, that's what we're talking about.
Wait, is it there? Wait, hold on.
It is.
What is the Chance GTX?
Storm Runner. Lightning Run.
Lightning Run. That's it. Yeah. You were. That's why I was confused. You were mixing them up. Yes, Lightning Run. The Chance GTX.
Okay, I stopped the podcast because we kind of.
What's that?
We skidded on there, so I kind of stopped the podcast.
Oh. What is the Chance? Where are we at?
That's what I'm trying to figure out.
Wait, is it there? Wait.
Because you were like, wait, is it there? So I'm like, maybe we should stop.
Well, yeah, when you said
I said Storm Runner and Lightning Run. I'm really excited.
Yeah, you said Storm Runner, and then I was thinking, wait, Lightning Run
and I meant Storm Chaser.
Well, I will tell you, Kentucky Kingdom, I am really excited for. I'm excited for Kentucky Flyer, but I'm also excited to try out this Chance GTX.
Okay, so we're right where you say, I'm excited to try this Chance GTX. So, Bob, I know a couple of weeks ago we were...
So, Lightning Run
I'm not...
does look... What?
I didn't go yet.
Oh.
I'll tell you when I go. This next weekend coming up. I mean, we can talk about Kentucky Kingdom first, but, we're going to Hollywood Nights as well. So, I mean, it's just... I'm in awe. Yeah. Okay, we can just go on from there, I guess. Let me start mine first. Go.
So Lightning Run does look like a pretty exciting ride to me. I just like I've been a fan of Morgan's hypers and Chance, being mixed in with Morgan. And a lot of people say how great the GTXs are. I'm really really anxious to try that ride.
Yeah, and that ride's compared to Phantom's Revenge a lot, which is one of my favorite coasters. So I can definitely see that getting up in my rankings as well. So I am excited for that. That park, I mean, overall has a pretty solid collection. And I've even heard that T3 there, Vekoma SLC, is not that bad of a ride, and it's actually pretty enjoyable and fun.
I've heard that both ways. I've heard some people say it's the worst, and then other people say it's the best. So
yeah, but I've heard from some of my enthusiast friends that they actually quite like it, and it's actually not it's one of their favorite rides there. So I'm excited. I will definitely try that out. I mean, I ride everything for the credit, but if I actually enjoy it, I will ride that multiple times. I'm excited to actually see if I, for once, enjoy a Vekoma SLC.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see that. But also Kentucky Flyer. I mean, it's short because it's it's a gravity group. But that the triple down on it looks pretty spectacular. I mean,
yeah, I'm excited to get on one of the small gravity group coasters and ride those because people have been talking about Oscar's Waxy Taxi and Quasi's Wooden Warrior for a long time, and now I'm finally going to be able to hop on one and see how great they are.
Actually hoping this year to get to Wacky Taxi as well.
Yeah, that looks great too. I think Kentucky Flyer actually looks better than Wacky Taxi though. A lot of people have said that.
I think it might.
Yeah, a lot of people have said
I don't know.
that.
The thing about Wacky Taxi is it's tall and then not. Like everything else is to the ground. So I don't know. I guess Kentucky Flyer. They're probably. I don't know. I haven't rode either yet, but they kind of seem like they might be similar.
Yeah, they are. They're pretty similar, but I've heard
Kentucky Flyer probably is a little more intense. I mean, if you want to use the word intense, it's probably a little bit better, just because of the hole that it's filling, like where it's going, and stuff.
and stuff. So that is Kentucky Kingdom. I'm actually really excited for Thunder Run as well, which is it's the Hurler clone, but it's backwards. So it was built by I can't remember exactly who it was, but
it's Den.
Okay, it was Den Corp. Okay, so yeah, Den Corp built that, and it was basically a replica of the Hurler that went to King's Dominion and Carowinds, but it actually is the reverse layout of what those two rides do. So it's backwards almost. So if you watch the POV, it does it's the same layout, but it does it in a reverse order. So, and I've heard that got retracked this year, and that it's running very well and is giving ejector airtime. So I'm really curious to see if that's actually the case.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. We're talking about an independent park here that really takes care of the rides.
Exactly. And same with Holiday World, which is the next
Holiday
park
World
we'll be
too.
going to. And I actually want to talk more about this because we're going to, not only are we going to Holiday World, we're going to probably the biggest roller coaster enthusiast event outside of, CoasterCon by Ace. But, outside of that event is probably the biggest roller coaster event. Hollywood Nights. It's a world-renowned event for coaster enthusiasts. Everyone's always talking about going to that. You get 4 hours of ERT on both nights, or around 4 hours. I believe it's 4.5, 3, something like that. So Friday night, I'm going to go through the schedule because I have it up right here. We'll talk about some of the ERT. We're going to get Splash and Safari ERT, which I'm actually really excited. I've never really looked at that too much, but we are going to get Water Park ERT, which is really awesome. I'm looking forward to that a lot. So bring your bathing suit, Bob. We gotta go.
Yes, I will.
I'm
not really a water park guy, but you know what? I'll do it. Why not?
It's a world-renowned water park. I've heard it's one of the best, and I'm also going to check out Kentucky Kingdom's water park too because I've heard they have a great one too. So I'm really looking forward to those two parks. And I know Holiday World has the two water coasters, Wildebeest and Mammoth.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to those two a lot. That's probably mainly what I'll be riding when we get the RT on that. But then we're going to get there at about 6 o'clock, and we'll get the RT on the water park from, I think it's 6 to 8. Yeah, 6 to 8 right here. But then from 7:30 to 11, we're getting ERT on Thunderbird, Voyage, Legend, and Raven, which, are basically the four biggies there. And that's going to be great. So I think I'm actually going to, I'll do the three. I'll do Thunderbird, Legend, Raven a couple times, maybe that'll take up an hour and a half, and then for the rest of the night I'll be basically doing Voyage. I'm trying to get like 50 rides on Voyage. I just want to ride the hell out of that coaster. I just can't wait to ride that. That looks so good, so fantastic.
I'm excited for that too.
Yeah, that just looks so great. And then also they have the silent auction, and they're gonna have a meal and Santa's Merry Marketplace. So that sounds like the first day. That sounds great.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm so very excited.
I know,
and Voyage,
myself.
Voyage is one of the most anticipated rides for me. I don't know. I don't want to get my hopes up too much, but yet at the same time, I also kind of feel like just from what I see of Voyage, I think it has potential to be my number one.
Yeah, especially loving the wooden coasters.
Right, that's the kind of coaster I love. I mean, right now my number one's Mystic Timbers, and Voyage just looks like on the same. Yes, the same concept, just bigger.
Exactly, and I think what's going to really help that ride get up to your number one maybe is it's going to be running trimless, because during Hollywood Nights there's the ride runs trimless, and it's night rides, which a lot of people don't get night rides on this thing because the park usually closes before the nighttime comes. And getting a night ride on Voyage is very, very limited to a certain amount of times during the year. So this is like a once in a lifetime experience that we're going to get at Hollywood Nights. So that's really awesome to get that ride. I am excited for Thunderbird. I am excited for Legend. I'm excited for Raven. But definitely, I mean, I could see Voyage moving up, and like you said, not my number one, I don't think. But I definitely think it'll crack my top 5. I definitely think that's an option. So then on Saturday, we're going to get into the park. We're going to have the Voyage and Thunderbird photo/video walk back. And then at 4:30, we'll have the Raven and Legend walk back. And then we'll have the silent auction. And then we'll have buffet meals in the good old days picnic pavilion. Then we're going to do Holiday World will close. We'll get the ERT from 8:30 to midnight. And we'll get Thunderbird, Voyage, Legend, and Raven again. And again, I'll probably do the Thunderbird, Legend, Raven real quick for like an hour. And then for the next 3 hours, I'll be riding Voyage nonstop.
I'm actually interested to see what B&M did with the LSM launch, too.
Yeah, I am, too. I mean, Thunderbird looks fantastic. I think that's going to be my favorite wing coaster out of Gatekeeper. And this time I've ridden Gatekeeper and Wild Eagle, but after this year I've ridden all 4 of the wing coasters in North America. So I think out of those 4, I think it'll probably be my number one. So that looks like a fantastic ride. I think that'll probably crack my top 25 maybe my top 30. I don't know where that'll land. I really am looking forward to Legend and Raven though, because I have heard so many mixed things about these rides. I've heard that some people say these are like really great solid wooden coasters, and then some people say they're weaker wooden coasters. So I'm really curious to see what these are.
That kind of seems to be a general CCI thing. It seems like enthusiasts either love or hate CCIs.
Yeah.
I personally liked CCI, so
you'll probably find this to be a pretty solid.
I'm kind of like this park just like wow, just everything. They even have the Howler, which is a Zamperla family gravity coaster.
There's your Zamperla, Phil.
Oh my no, not Zamperla. No, I'm a Zero fan.
Zero, there it is. Zero, same thing.
No, there's a big difference there. Don't you dare tag me as the Zamperla guy.
Okay, well, yeah.
Here's an interesting fact, a little bit of a side trail, but an interesting fact. Do you know that Anton Schwarzkopf's brother actually had some workings with Zero? Was it Franz Schwarzkopf?
I don't know. You're asking me like I know.
I can't remember his name. It started with an F. But he actually designed what is now the Wave Swinger, which is a Zero product, which is in most major amusement parks now. So there's just a little bit of information there.
There you guys go. You get a coaster fact of the day.
Yeah.
Brought to you by Bob. Okay, well, yeah, Hollywood Nights is going to be exceptional. I'm going to get to finally fly in a plane again. I have not flown in a plane for about 10 years now, so I'm finally getting back in a plane, and I'm going to fly. I'm so excited for that. That's like one of the most anticipated things for this trip is flying.
It's interesting. I actually get to drive my car on level ground, which is actually, that may sound weird, but, I actually have a mild hybrid that Honda calls it, the Honda CRZ. and I've always wondered how it would actually behave when you're not going up and down hills constantly. So I'm kind of actually anxious to drive out there. Uh,
Yeah.
I think
So
that'll be
we're
fun.
both
This will be
excited
my
for the
first
trip out
really
there.
really long trip.
We're both excited for the long trip out there, more than we are. Well, not more than we are for the trip, but we're pretty. We're not going to be on the car like, oh dang it, why are we have to wait 10 hours? We're going to be excited to be even driving and flying there. So I
Yeah,
don't know why I love flying. I love getting there and like having all those people there and like it's just like a cool atmosphere to be in an airport and like all the
I
people.
do. I do
People are
like
all
flying.
around the world are going. Yeah, I'm not saying you don't. I'm just saying like I love seeing like all the people going around the world and seeing it's kind of cool. And
Yeah,
I've always enjoyed, at least when I flew the first time, I enjoyed it a lot. So yeah, that is Hollywood
and
Nights coming up.
turbulence can be like airtime too.
Yeah, yeah, it can be. So for yeah, I know. Yeah, it can be. So it just depends. Um, so yeah, once we get back from Hollywood Nights, we're gonna have to have you back on. Maybe we'll have Daniel and Timmy on. We'll talk about the trip, talk about
Yeah,
the
I think
the
that'd be a lot of
coasters and
fun.
everything. And Daniel, especially, he's going on a trip much larger than ours. He's going Dollywood, Kentucky Kingdom, Holiday World. Then he's going up to Waldemere. Then he's going down to Kennywood. So he's going on like a bigger week-long road trip. So he'll be stopping there with Hollywood Nights for us, and then he'll be heading up to Waldemere, getting on Ravine Flyer too, which that's great.
Yeah, I got to get up there
I'll
this
be
year
riding that
too.
later this year as well.
My
So
niece is bugging me to go there too.
yeah, I'm gonna be heading up there this year most likely as well. So getting our GC Gravity group, get another major Gravity group ride. So yeah, that is about it for that segment of Coaster Craze. Really looking forward to Hollywood Nights. Really, really, really looking forward to that. So this will probably be the last podcast before Hollywood Nights. Most likely, I might do one next week, but I have a short week ahead of me because I have a lot going on. So this might be the last episode before Hollywood Nights, and then I'm hoping this summer I will get more on the track of doing a weekly podcast because I've been really bad at not doing it completely weekly. I've been doing it like every other week, but it will
There's
be.
like parks to go to and stuff,
Yeah, I know it
man.
sucks, man, but and there's also school stuff to do, which is even worse.
Yeah, there's that work stuff too.
Yeah, exactly for you. So we're gonna move on to the break run, talk about some of the best parks in the European country of Germany.
Are you sure it's European?
It's in the European Union, so
I'm just kidding.
I know you're kidding. The EU.
Which may or may not contain Britain or
Yeah, England.
yeah. Right. Wait, did you say New England? What?
England.
England. Brexit, man.
Okay, so I have some responses from people. So do you want to? I know I usually just read them off and then like kind of briefly talk about it, but should I just read off some responses, then we'll like kind of go into detail talking about them, or do you want me to read them all off and then we go into detail talking about the parks that they talked about?
You can just rate them all off
Okay,
because
yeah.
I don't really know much about foreign parks, so
Well, it's just basically like Europa, Phantasialand. I don't even know what the hell this park is actually. Pasadena Land. What the heck is that? Never heard of that before. Let's look it up. Watch it be like fake. Oop, okay, did not open a new tab. I was just typing right now.
Pasenda Land.
No, it's Pasadena Land.
Well, that's not how you typed it.
How do you know how I typed it?
Because you typed it in the document that I can see.
I did?
Yeah,
I didn't type. Oh, I did.
it's right there.
I didn't mean to type that in there. I was what? I don't know how that even got there. I wasn't even on the tab. This is not a real park because I'm looking it up how he spelled it. And it's not.
RCDB does is it says no.
I feel like it's got maybe he's like maybe it's like a meme or something. No, it's not a park.
Someone's trolling you. They just want to get you to say
Well,
something.
okay, I'm gonna say this off air, I guess, because this is pretty offensive. But I did get a response like this, and honestly, I find it funny, but a lot of people might not. So I'm gonna mute the mic real quick. unless you guys are really good lip readers, you guys have no idea what I just said, so we're back. So I guess we'll just hop into this. Okay. So Germany is pretty well run. I mean, in terms of European countries, I think it might have the best collection of parks. I mean, you have Europa, you have Phantasialand, you have Hansa Park, you have Movie Park. There's so many great parks out there in that country. And so, I mean, I know for a lot of people that listen to this podcast, you probably haven't visited there, but I was trying to get a lot of people that even hadn't gone to parks to just look at the parks that they have and see which ones they thought were the best. Sadly, we didn't get too many responses because I think a lot of people were thinking, we don't go to any of these parks, so we don't know. But I was hoping more people would vote. But there were a good amount of votes, and we even got a vote response in German from one of my friends who can speak German. So that's pretty cool. I'll try to read it, and then I think I can translate it pretty well because I already translated into Google Translate. So
you mean Google can translate it pretty well?
Yeah, Google can translate it pretty well. First response, no brainer, Europa Park. Someone said Munich Oktoberfest, if you count that. So that could be counted. I mean, you got Olympia looping with that, so sure, why not? Someone said Europa again, and he gave a little bit of an explanation, so I'll read that off. He said it's the best park in the world, no question, has an underrated lineup, amazing food, and the theming is great. And honestly, I can see that. I don't know if I'd say it's the best park in the world, but I can see the food being great. I definitely can believe that. I can believe that the theming is fantastic, and I believe that the lineup looks underrated. I know Blue Fire looks great. Woden looks great. Silver Star looks great. I know they have a lot of great kosher there, so I'm excited to ride them when I go. Phantasialand is someone's response, which Phantasialand looks fantastic again with theming. They have great theming, and that looks fantastic. I like a fantastic park. And then here's the response in German. Phantasialand, well, es so habsig ist an hat, bid Black Mamba und Terren de Ba. I just butchered that so terribly, but it basically means, well, not basically, it means that Phantasialand is very pretty, and it has Black Mamba and Terran, which are both fantastic rides. So that's kind of what it translates to. I don't know if Google Translate sometimes messes some things up, but that's the gist of what he said. So Phantasialand, another vote for Phantasialand. Someone said Europa Park. It's a huge park. There's so much to do, and everything is so beautifully themed and detailed. We got a vote for Hansa Park. And then one last response for Europa Park. Europa Park because the theming is second to none in Germany, and they play a vital role in the production of Mack rides, our new products. So that's fantastic. So got a lot of Phantasialands, a lot of Europa Parks. Surprisingly, we got a Hansa Park. So, yeah, Germany, I mean, those are some great parks right there. And I'm really looking forward to, to taking a European trip out there one day and riding all those rides. Nothing.
What?
Nothing.
Are you waiting for me to say something?
Yeah.
Oh.
You can't say anything?
I don't know.
You have like 8,000 things to say about like a dumb little like locker situation, but you can't say one thing about...
I don't know what the locker situation is in Germany. And there's no Cedar Fair over there to bitch about.
Oh my gosh. Just say something. I know you know something. Come on. Okay, wait. Let me start. Go.
So I don't know, dude. You're at pause it. I really don't know.
Come
what
on.
to say. Like,
just say anything. Just say like they look like.
Just
say they look fantastic or something. Come on.
All right.
Okay, go.
A lot of those parks really look fantastic. I'd love to be able to travel over there sometime, but it's far away.
Wishful thinking, yeah, but
yeah, wishful thinking.
It is.
Maybe when I win the lottery and all that stuff that everybody says.
Yeah, so Germany looks like a great part of Europe in terms of roller coasters. I'm looking forward.
That's the home of Zero.
Oh yeah, so you have to love it. Automatically your favorite country in terms of roller coasters. Okay, so yeah, that looks like a great part. But next week's weekly poll, I think I'm really excited to discuss this because I know a lot of people are going to have opinions on this. And I'll let Bob talk about his because he probably has a couple that he wants to talk about. But I'm gonna leave my opinion for next week. We are gonna exclude Cedar Point and Six Flags Magic Mountain from this, and that is the best top 5 at a park. And I know, like, automatically 80,000 of the responses will be Six Flags, Magic Mountain, and Cedar Point. So I do want to exclude those 2 parks because I'm going to be really tired of seeing those parks' names show up. So try to think out of the box. Try to think original. Try to think of parks that aren't really known for having, like, a great top 5. But then if you say that, you might go, wow, wait, they really do have a great top 5. So think a little bit out of the box here. So, Bob, what do you think?
If you want to think really out of the box, Kennywood's kind of might have that this year with Steel Curtain, Phantom's Revenge, Jackrabbit.
Thunderbolt?
It's 3. Thunderbolt, yeah.
Little Phantom.
Little Phantom's actually kind of fun.
Yeah,
I have to admit,
Jackrabbit. What is it? Racer.
Yeah, Racer. I kind of like Skyrocket better than Racer, to be honest.
I cannot stand Skyrocket. That's the most
like
weird, terrible.
Too, but so legitimately though, I want to say King's Dominion or Hershey Park. King's Dominion has some fantastic rides. Obviously my number 1, Mystic Timbers.
You mean Kings Island?
Yeah. What did I say?
King's Dominion.
Oh, King's Dominion used to have.
You're just thinking about the past.
Kings Island has
It's
Mystic
late, guys.
Timbers.
It's a late night.
Yeah. They're so close. I always screw those up anyway. Everybody always screws those up.
Yeah.
But Mystic Timbers and Beast, obviously. Diamondback's great. Banshee's great. No Firehawk anymore. Can't say that. But even the Bat's great. Flight of Fear. Actually, Adventure Express is a pretty fun mine ride. You have the Racer. There's a lot of good parks. Or a lot of good coasters there. And I don't know. I think I'd probably give it to Hershey. Mm-hmm. Because Sky Rush and Storm Runner are fantastic rides. I love them.
Fair night.
And I love GCIs. I love both Wildcat and Lightning Racer. I think they're both phenomenal coasters. Great Bear's there. It's definitely one of the better. Well, I mean, all of the B&M inverts are pretty good. And Comet's a great classic.
Yeah, Comet's very, very, very surprised me. I know they retracted a while ago. It was butter smooth. I got some really good airtime. I mean, at one point, me and my friend were joking that we liked Comet better than Skyrush, and he's an enthusiast. And now, for some reason, he goes on this thing and saying like Skyrush is one of his favorite roller coasters. But at the time, when we were actually there, he was saying that he was joking around. He's like, Comet might be better than Skyrush. That might be our new number 1 at the park.
Skyrush is my favorite steel coaster. I absolutely love that ride. Even Super Duper Looper, man. I love short
you can go deep into their collection. So yeah, just give us top 5s like that. We'll read them off next week's show. Thank you guys so much for listening to your source for everything roller coasters. This has been Coaster Talk. I've been your host, James Barber. We've also been here with Bob.
It's great to be on again. What?
It's great to have you on again.
It's great to be on again, is what I said.
You said it's great to have you on again.
No, I said it's great to be on again.
I will listen to it.
It's great to listen to it. It's great to be on again.
Great to have you on again. You literally said great to have
you
on.
Did I really?
Yes.
Like
you always mess up these endings. It's like
you said, it's late night.
It's great to have you on again.
It's great to be at King's Island, King something.
Wherever we are.
Where are we at? Sorry. I really didn't realize I did that.
Okay, wait, I'm going to try to figure out how to re-edit this. I mean, at one point, me and my next talk, I've been your host, James Barber. We've also been here with Bob. So just say something, then I'll kind of close it out. So I was saying...
Okay, now, what?
Go.
Thanks for having me on again.
Yeah, it's been great. It's been great to have you on. Thank you guys again for listening to the show. We'll see you guys all next week. I think that's good. I think I said your source for everything roller coasters, right? Before.
I don't know. I don't know what I said, dude.
Now for some reason there. You can go deep in there. Thank you guys so much for listening to your source. Everything. Yeah, I did. Okay, good. Okay, so that's it. We done. Shebang.
We did it.
Okay. See you guys on the live stream. Bob, you want to say bye?
Bye. Bye, live stream. Bye.